Hello everyone! I hope you're ready for another adventure, because today Wayne continues to read Winnie the Pooh by A.A. Milne. Always remember, if you want to follow along and read the story with us, all you have to do is press the CC button in your YouTube link. Now, who do you think is going to join us for today's adventure? That's right, we have the silly old bear, Pooh Bear himself. Are you ready to jump into these stories, Winnie? Winnie the Pooh is ready. Let's jump in. Chapter 3, in which Pooh and Piglet go hunting and nearly catch a Woozle. The Piglet lived in a very grand house in the middle of a beech tree. And the beech tree was in the middle of the forest, and the Piglet lived in the middle of the house. Next to his house was a piece of broken board that said, "Trespassers W" on it. When Christopher Robin asked the Piglet what it meant, he said it was his grandfather's name, and had been in the family a long time. Christopher Robin said, "You couldn't be called Trespassers W." And Piglet said, "Yes, you could," because his grandfather was, and it was short for Trespassers Will, which was short for Trespassers William. And his grandfather had two names, in case he lost one: Trespassers, after an uncle, and William, after Trespassers. "I've got two names," said Christopher Robin, carelessly. "Well, there you have it. That proves it," said Piglet. One fine winter's day, when Piglet was brushing away the snow from his house, he happened to look up, and there was Winnie the Pooh. That's you. Pooh was walking around and round in a circle, thinking of something else when Piglet called up to him. He just went on walking. "Hello," said Piglet. "What are you doing?" "Hunting," said Pooh. "Hunting what?" "Tracking something," said Winnie the Pooh, very mysteriously. "Tracking what?" said Piglet, coming closer. "That's just what I want to ask myself." I asked myself, "What do you think you'll answer?" "I shall have to wait until I come up with it," he said, Winnie the Pooh. "Now look there," he pointed to the ground in front of him. "What do you see there?" "Tracks," said Piglet. "Paw marks," he said. He gave a little squeak of excitement. "Oh, Pooh, do you think it's a Woozle?" "It may be," said Pooh. "Sometimes it is, and sometimes it isn't. You can never tell with paw marks." With these few words, he went on tracking, and Piglet, after watching him for a minute or two, ran after him. Winnie the Pooh had come to a sudden stop, and bending over the tracks in a puzzled sort of way. "What's the matter?" asked Piglet. "It's a very funny thing," said Bear, "but there seem to be two animals now. This is, whatever it was, has been joined by another, whatever it is, and the two of them are now proceeding in a company. Would you mind coming with me, Piglet, in case they turn out to be hostile animals?" Piglet scratched his ear in a nice sort of way, and said he had nothing to do until Friday, and would be delighted to come, in case it really was a Woozle. "You mean in case it really was two Woozles," said Winnie the Pooh. And Piglet said that anyhow, he had nothing to do until Friday. So off they went together. There was a small spinnery of larch trees just here, and it seemed to be if two Woozles, if that is what they were, had been going around the spinning. So, round the spinning went Pooh and Piglet after them, Piglet passing the time by telling Pooh what his grandfather, Trespassers W, had done to remove stiffness after tracking, and how his grandfather, Trespassers W, had suffered in his later years from shortness of breath, and on other matters of interest. And Pooh wondering what a grandfather was like, and if perhaps it was two grandfathers they were after now, and if so, whether he would be allowed to take one home and keep it, and what Christopher Robin would say. And still the tracks went on in front of them. Suddenly, the Winnie the Pooh stopped and pointed excitedly in front of them. "Look." "What?" said Piglet with a jump. And then, to show what he hadn't been too frightened, he jumped up and down once or twice in an exercising sort of way. "The tracks," said Pooh. "A third animal has joined the other two." "Pooh!" cried Piglet. "Do you think it is another Woozle?" "No," said Pooh, "because it makes different marks. It is either two Woozles and one, as it might be, Woozle, or two, as it might be, Wizzles, and one, if it is Woozle. Let us continue to follow them." So they went on, feeling a little anxious now in case the three animals in front of them were of hostile intent. And Piglet wished very much that his grandfather, T.W., were there instead of elsewhere. And Pooh thought how nice it would be if they had met Christopher Robin suddenly, but quite accidentally, and only because he liked Christopher Robin so much. And then, all of a sudden, Winnie the Pooh stopped again and licked the tip of his nose in a cooling manner, for he was now feeling hot and anxious than ever before in his life. There were 4 animals in front of them. "Do you see, Piglet? Look at their tracks. 3 as it were. Woozles, and one of them, it was Wizzle. Another Woozle has joined them." And so it seemed that there were tracks crossing all over each other, getting muddled up with each other, but quite plainly, every now and then, the tracks of 4 sets of paws. "I think," said Piglet, when he had licked the tip of his short nose too, and found that it was brought very little comfort, "I think I have just remembered something. I have just remembered something that I have forgotten to do yesterday that shan't be due for tomorrow, so I suppose I really ought to go back and do it now." "Well, do it this afternoon, and I'll come with you," said Pooh. "It isn't sort of thing that you can do afternoon," said Piglet quickly, "and it's very particular morning thing, and that has to be done in the morning, and if possible, between the hours of— what would you say what time it was?" "About 12, said Winnie the Pooh, looking at the sun. "Between, as I was saying, the hours of 12 and 12:05. So really, dear old Pooh Bear, if you'll excuse me—" "What's that?" Pooh looked up in the sky, and then, as he heard the whistle again, he looked up into the branches of the big oak tree, and then he saw a friend of his. "Christopher Robin," he said. "And then you'll be all right," said Piglet. "You'll be quite safe with him. Goodbye." And he trotted off home as quickly as he could, very glad to be out of all the danger again. Christopher Robin came down slowly from his tree. "Silly old bear," he said. "What were you doing? First you went around the spiny tree twice by yourself. Then Piglet ran after you, and you went around together again. And then you were just going around the 4th time." "Wait a minute," said Winnie the Pooh, holding up his paw. He sat down and thought, in the most thoughtful way he could. Then he fitted his paw into one of the tracks. And then he scratched his nose twice, and stood up. "Yes," said Winnie the Pooh. "I see now," said Winnie the Pooh. "I have been foolish and deluded," he said, "and I am a bear of no brain at all." "You're the best bear in all the world," said Christopher Robin soothingly. "Am I?" said Pooh hopefully, and then he brightened up and suddenly— "Anyhow," he said, "it's nearly luncheon time." So he went home for it. That seems to be an amazing place to end today's adventure. Thank you for joining us, silly old bear. You had a really fun, interesting adventure with Piglet today. Hope to see you on the next one. And we hope to see you on the next adventure here with Wayne Reads. Thank you for stopping by. We can't wait to see you for the next one. Bye-bye.